yo, what am I even doing? Honestly, like, what am I even doing? Like, I can't even answer that question right now. I mean, literally, I am preparing to talk about a really good topic with you guys today in this video. But if you really think about like my action in the grand scheme of things, the grand, huge calculus of the events that make up moments in life, right? Like, what am I really doing? All right, anyway, let's not get distracted. Summer del Piso here in the night. Today, we are going to do an analysis on a very, very beautiful and favorite series of mine, a TV series. So the series that we're going to do, we're gonna take an episode and sort of analyze, is Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone, not the Jordan Peele remade one, which there was no problem with that. That's probably his best work, better than Get Out, Nope, US or Us, whatever. All his cinematic works were trash compared to his take on the Twilight Zone. But we're not talking about his Twilight Zone, we're talking about Rod Serling's, the originator, the progenitor, the creator of this beautiful series that inspired a whole plethora of science fiction series, movies, thriller movies, psychological thrillers, movies, all that sort of thing. The episode in question that we're going to analyze is Queen of the Nile. Of course, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into it. It's a beautiful night. I'm gonna be here for a minute talking about this. The episode, the Queen of the Nile, first thoughts that I can imagine come to your mind is it has something to do with Egypt, right? Or, oh, it has something to do with maybe an allusion to Moses being cast away from the Pharaoh's wife, thrown down the Nile River. But that's not it. So the Queen of the Nile, the episode is basically about this very, very famous actress. And this journalist that comes in, this male journalist, that decides to come into her estate and interview her because he wants to know more about her success, the plethora of the movies that she's acted in, just wants to know generally about this woman because a lot of the information that's out, that's released about her, don't really sort of match up. There's a lot of discrepancies, mainly with her age. It seems like there were movies that were very, very old, and she starred in those films. And then there were movies within that time period, which was like the 70s. That's when the Twilight Zone was incepted. The episode carries forth. The journalist is getting closer and closer to finding out more about this woman. On the estate, we get like sort of glimpses too, because we are just as puzzled as the journalist. All the questions that the journalist is asking to the actress, we are sort of asking ourselves, and we're sort of imploring the journalist to ask like even more follow-up questions because we just want to get to the bottom of this. The way that this episode was outlined, it was just very, very interesting. It was just, we're just trying to figure it out. Like it's like a whodunit thing, right? Like Clue or Knives Out or any of those films, right? Oh, look at this, there's a rat there. It's crazy. I don't got any food. In the episode, we catch a glimpse of the maid of the actress, and it's this old woman. And the old woman in the episode periodically tells the journalist, you don't want to continue your investigation. You're not gonna like what you're gonna figure out, right? And of course a journalist, right, driven only by their ambition to figure out things, parallel to the ambition as a detective, says, no, I'm gonna press on. I just wanna figure this out. I think this will be a very, very good story. We catch glimpses too of the main actress telling telling the maid, listen, don't tell him anything, don't you dare say anything, or else I'm going to, you know what I'm gonna do to you, right? You know what I can do to you. So we're like, oh boy. So she's, by the way, the actress that played the actress, because she's essentially an actress, was this really, really beautiful woman, like especially by 70s standards and by today's standards. So obviously during the time of the 70s when that episode was viewed, you can sort of deduce how the audience was sort of viewing this beautiful damsel, right? Like a sort of, not really a damsel in distress, but certainly not a woman with teeth, right? Just a woman with wiles. And then once she made that threat, we now realize, okay, not only she's hiding some deep secret, but two, she has done something violent, perhaps, to maintain the veil of secrecy over this bit of information. So we are just sort of descending into this episode more and more, further and further, until the end. The journalist sort of finds some crazy discrepancy based on the records that he was able to get from her of her, the movies that she's played in. The time frames were just completely scattered, were completely separated. It's like, how the heck was she playing in some film in like the 10s, right, in the 20s. And then in the 70s, she's playing in another film, but she hasn't changed a bit. She then reveals the crux of the episode, which is like the turning point, where we realize that she is just this woman that's very, very old. She's been around since ancient Egypt, since the exodus of the Israelites, right? And how she has been keeping alive was she was utilizing the secrets of the scarab beetle taught to her by the pharaohs of that time. And what she did was, as she was telling the journalist the information, she has already drugged the journalist. The journalist is gasping for air, poisoned, but it is too late. There's nothing that he can do. He has found out what he wanted to figure out, and he cannot leave the house. So what she ends up doing is she places that scarab beetle on top of his chest. His energy is just drained, and it goes into the scarab beetle, and then she puts it on her chest, and you could see the rush of ecstasy on her face as she's getting the transference of this male energy. The episode unfortunately concludes with another young, strapping lad coming inside the house, interested in getting to know this woman. And of course, the audience, knowing the full ability and might of this seemingly innocent woman, can only pray for the man to not figure out everything, as the previous journalist did, and lose his life as well. So why is it that I brought this up, right? Why is it that I'm even talking about the Twilight Zone, besides it being one of my favorite TV series of all time? The archetype of that woman, the Queen of the Nile, that actress, right, that played that actress, that is the archetype of the witch. Now, what kind of individual is that? A witch is very, very dangerous, which is why the Bible warns against witches. Not only they understand the metaphysical processes and flows of energy, right, as I described previously in another video, but they seek to manipulate that process. They seek to put themselves within, like a middleman of sorts, within the flow of that process, and use that energy that was stolen for personal gain. That actress, right, she's only interested in fame. She is only interested in personal power. She is only interested in pursuit of worldly things, due to the secrets of the pharaohs. Before, during the time when she was probably young, she was able to maintain her life. She was able to elongate her survival, right? Her existence on the planet, and just continue that acting career and consistently stay in the limelight without any questions. And anyone that got too close, like our poor journalist, got his energy drained. You should have seen the scene. I even recorded it on my phone. You should have seen the scene of the guy getting his energy drained by the beetle. It was not only you see his face slowly getting older and older, but you see the hairs fall out of his head as the skin disappeared, and it was just a skeleton. And even the skeleton got dry and then got cracked up and then turned to dust. I'm bringing this up because it was a very profound episode for me at the time that I viewed it, which was around the time of the pandemic, and it's just as important of an episode now. We have women in our midst now. This 2024, darkness is completely sophisticated, witchcraft is completely sophisticated now, and we have individuals that understand how to manipulate this energy and use this geomancy, right, witchcraft, in order to fit themselves at the nodes of energy transfer, and use that energy stolen for their own personal gain, whether it be for riches, whether it be for fortune telling, which is divination, all the things that were casted as negative in the Bible. As practitioners of semen retention, is there some sort of danger that we face being in the midst of witches and people that use this energy? Because it's not necessarily just women, it's individuals that are aware of this energy. I will say, of course, right? What witches and individuals that understand sorcery, what they do is that with semen retention, you have a lot of energy. We know that you're maintaining your life force, you are ascending spiritually, and you are sort of maturing yourself as well as you're maturing your brain and making your aura much more dense. These people understand, and they have most likely dealt with individuals that have charged their energy as such. So as a result, they understand how to deal with individuals that are on semen retention that have this energy. They parry their looks. It's almost as if It's the whole concept behind martial arts. Someone comes, attacks you with a straight, like a straight punch. The best thing to do is not to block it head on. The best thing to do is to parry it, right? Make the energy work for you. You misfire it, you misdirect it. The same application of martial arts can be applied for witchcraft, people that use witchcraft and sorcery against individuals with semen retention. When you have semen retention, directly they cannot be defeated, right? Because we are strong, we have our energy within us, because we are following the rules. But what they do is that they thwart the space around us, so we get misfired, we misdirect, we misnavigate. We get off track, and then we head in a direction that leads to the loss of this energy inevitably. That's the whole idea of witchcraft. We have beautiful women like that actress in that episode, the Queen of the Nile in the Twilight Zone, that will tempt you, right? They will misfire you. Women are very, very intuitive. They definitely can pick up on your male energy because you're definitely building up a lot of that masculine energy on semen retention. And then you are releasing a lot of pheromones that will attract women, right? That is just natural. What needs to be done is that on this practice of semen retention, you need to be aware of the overly ambitious witch. You need to be aware of the very, very ruthless sorcerer, right? You look at these individuals, you have to be able to identify them very, very quickly and then make a decision incredibly fast as well, and incredibly firm. In this day and age, there are various ways for the women to tempt the man. There are many, many ways of being a temptress. It's very, very easy. They do it here, even in this neighborhood. This neighborhood, Jackson Heights, there's a lot of prostitution. There's a lot of sex work. And men get caught by the wiles of a woman every single time. And of course, they're not getting drained to the bone as our poor journalist in the episode of Queen of the Nile was. But day by day, their energy is getting drained. The darkness is getting cast upon them. And I'm saying spiritual darkness, where contention with men, right? The sons of men will happen. Failure with jobs, failure with personal relationships, interpersonal relationships with their family. This is what follows when you indulge in that kind of thing. Unfortunately, the journalist, well, fortunately in this specific case, the journalist was killed instantly, right? He was drained of his energy instantly. He didn't have to go through the darkening of his reality, the contention with the people around him, and the loss of physical success that he's gained due to, whatever personal practices he might have applied, maybe self-discipline. I don't know if semen retention definitely was not pushed at that time period. For sure. Of course, amongst the majority, as with this time. My final statements and final thoughts about this episode is, like I said earlier, just now, you must be careful of the temptress. That actress knew exactly what she was doing. She consistently books appointments with young men to take their energy and use it for herself to prolong her physical reign on the planet, in this physical reality. Rod Serling created this episode for us in order to warn us about the women that are like that, the women that do these sort of things, the women that practice witchcraft only to dissuade and destroy men. King Solomon warned about this. King David felt completely horrible about his decision and would definitely have warned other individuals about it if he was given the chance. We hear this story, a tale as old as time, in Shin Megami Tensei 5, Vengeance. We have these 4 women, right? These 4 female demons that are very, very interested in reviving the primordial goddess, Tiamat, the divine feminine, right? And which is a representative of chaos, right? Which is lack of order, which is licentiousness. As semen retention practitioners, we must be completely vigilant of any that come in our midst that try to promote this silly type of behavior that is bound to destroy you, that is a slow destruction, an erosion, dripping water on a stone to hollow the stone. You must be completely vigilant and dedicated to staying away from the temptress that uses witchcraft. They're the most dangerous. There's a reason why the Bible warned us against this. This woman knew exactly what she was doing in the episode and will continue to do it until she is stopped. That's the type of time that she was on, and that's the type of time that a lot of women here are on, and that we need to figure out and move accordingly with. And with that being said, that's all I have to say about the Queen of the Nile episode from the Twilight Zone from the 70s, written by Rod Serling. If you like that episode, if you like this content, please like, comment, subscribe. I am monetized on YouTube, so I could receive super chat donations. So if you guys feel like seeing like this channel sort of flourish a little bit more, a little bit faster, think about leaving a super chat donation, right? It's not gonna go towards any chains, it's not gonna go towards any sneakers or some car, right? It's gonna go right back into the channel, whether it be for traveling or whether it be for buying tech to make the broadcast of my videos much more sharper, much more effective, and much more smooth. Don't let this place get you down. Like I was saying before, that is the most dangerous obstacle in the path of the retainer. The woman that knows, not only just the woman with wiles, the woman with wiles that is doing that on purpose, that is utilizing witchcraft. Witchcraft is very dangerous. Many cultures around the world have practiced witchcraft, and they still hollow these things as if it's something traditional and something to celebrate, when in reality, it is just of a lower vibration and is meant to separate men from their most powerful essence, the energy retained by semen retention. And stay radiant. I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!